guest tonight will be Varun Ram. We have a lot to talk about with this young guy who's playing his last year in Maryland, a grad student at the University of Maryland. And we'll talk to Varun, then we'll go on the telephone and talk with a former Terrapin who played for Coach Williams back in the 90s, Dwayne Simpkins. Head coach Mark Turgeon alongside right now as the Terrapins are now today 23-5, 11-4 in the Big Ten. At home, they've lost only one game and 6-1 in the conference. And right back on track again.
Yeah. I thought Varun was a senior last year.
Well, you know, he was. He squeezed one more year out of it.
Yeah. He's like Tom. He retires and comes back.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable.
It was a tough couple of games, huh, Coach? But finally, things back on track.
Well, you know, we had 10 bad minutes, really bad minutes versus Wisconsin, and steamrolled, and we just couldn't overcome it. Wisconsin's really playing at a high level right now. They made big shots in the second half, and we didn't, or we might have came back and won that one. And it just carried over, you know, into Minnesota, and just had a bad half, and got ourselves too far behind, and then down the stretch we didn't execute the way we've executed all year. A lot of it's because we weren't able to make shots again. And so it started to play on us, but we came back from those two losses and just tried to be real positive with the guys and tell them how good they were and that we needed to play well. And we really had to play well to win yesterday because Michigan played at a high level. But it's just good to win. It's good to win, but more importantly, it's good to play well.
Yeah.
And that's the best we've played offensively
since Ohio State.
Since Ohio State, and you know, we might have scored 100 if we didn't have 18 turnovers in the game. So that's something we got to continue to work on. Our turnovers, our live ball turnovers, are really hurting us right now, leading the layups. But really proud of the group yesterday. Should really help us this week with our attitude, and we got a week, you know, to prepare for Purdue and just try to get better as a basketball team.
Is that good to have a week off? I think these guys may need it.
Yeah, we need it. You know, losing's hard when you're not used to losing. And,
that's true.
You know, we hadn't lost 2 in a row in 2 years, and last year's team never did it. I didn't think this year's team would do it, but we did. And so that was really hard on us, and mentally it was tough. And this is a time for us to help prepare us not only for a late season run, but a postseason run. So we're going to have 3 really hard practices this week. I know the guys don't like that, but you know, kind of like back to the basics stuff for us, and hopefully, you know, get better in a lot of areas. Each game I learn a little bit more about my team, and so I can help them a little bit more, but I think this week will be big for us. And then we have 5 days before we play Illinois, so we have some time right now that can really help us, I think, down the road.
And Coach, looking at the minutes that the starters play, most of these guys are going 34, 35 plus minutes every game.
Yeah, unfortunately they've had to do that, and there was 2 teams yesterday that didn't want to sub very much. My bench was terrific. Jalen Brantley and Jared and DeMonte were just terrific yesterday and gave us a lot of confidence. And there's a reason we built the lead the way we did, because they played so well. But, you know, the second half, it's really hard to take Rasheed out. It's really hard to take Mello out. It's really hard to take Jake Lehman out.
Sure.
There are 3 excellent players that are playing at a high level, and then there was a bunch of timeouts in a row. And I was able to rest guys, so I didn't get the bench in as much in the second half. Obviously, DeMonte played a lot, but didn't get the guards in as much, but they were terrific in the first half. So, yeah, when they're playing that many minutes, it helps us. I think that caught up with us a little bit. So all this time off, I think we were mentally tired more so than physically tired, you know, during that stretch when we weren't playing well.
And you beat a very good Michigan team. Very good.
A good Michigan team that played great yesterday.
Yeah. And
that's the key. And you know, when your centers pop out and hit 4 threes, and we had Zach Irvin's just a really hard matchup for us. No matter how you look at it, it's hard. And you know, I was pretty stubborn on the middle ball screen. Finally, late in the game, we switched out really hard on it and got him out of the middle ball screen, and we were able to, you know, guard pretty well the last. I think we did it about the 6-minute mark of the game, and that really helped us. But you know, we switched out at their place, and Irvin drained threes on us, so we were reluctant to do it here. But we did it late in the game, and it helped us. And DeMonte was great defensively again. Jake Lehman was unbelievable on defense on the Robinson kids. So he got a layup out of bounds under. He got a layup on Mello, and then he got a 3 off a scramble play. He had 7 points before the first media timeout. He doesn't score again until he hits that 3 right there with 5 seconds to go. So Jake Lehman was terrific. I thought the guys coming off the bench were great defensively. Rashid's always great defensively. He was great again yesterday. So, it sounds funny you give up 82 points. You're saying something like that, but that's how hard they were to guard and how well they played. They made some tough shots.
And what's impressive also, that's the most points this team has scored since that Ohio State game, and you win it despite coughing the ball up 18 times.
Yeah, it's
very good.
We really worked hard, not long, but hard on Saturday, making better decisions with the basketball. And, you can't simulate every situation, but more so if we're going to guard well and we're going to get stops, what we're going to do when we're running when we get stops and making good decisions. And we were better in transition yesterday. We hit some threes in transition. We got the ball to block in transition. We got to the rim in transition. We scored a lot out of our transition, so that drill helped us. We did about 30 minutes of this just concentrating on that one part of the game. And but then again, we turned it over too much. And, a couple charge calls that probably weren't charges and different things that happen. And, I do think Melo's getting fouled sometimes when he drives in there and they're taking an arm and different things to protect Melo a little bit more. So, but, we still have to do a better job with the basketball than we're doing.
Looking from afar, all the years that you've coached, I know that you've probably gone through stretches at Texas A&M, Wichita State, even when you were playing back at Kansas, where a team, it's not going to be smooth riding all the way. No team is going to do that. And when you get down to the stretch, you got 23 wins under your belt.
Yeah, and, that's what's important. It's what we think we're accomplishing and what we think we're doing with this year's team. But every season, you hit rock bottom.
Somewhere.
And so we wanted Minnesota to be rock bottom for us. Obviously, I wanted Wisconsin to be rock bottom, a home loss, but it wasn't. So Minnesota became, like Kentucky last year probably didn't hit rock bottom until they lost in the semis to Wisconsin. They were 38-0. But everybody goes through it where you lose 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 or, 2 out of 4, whatever. And we went through it, and we wanted that to be our rock bottom. So it's a long, long grinding season. I'd rather struggle in late February, mid to late February, than in early and middle March. And because we struggled, we should be a much better team come March.
You got a good free throw shooting team. You hit 17 of 19 yesterday.
Yeah, it was good to see. And we made 4 big ones with a lot of pressure-packed free throws down the stretch. Rashid hit 2 and Melo hit 2. And, yesterday was the first time in a long time it felt like us on both ends of the floor. Yeah, I know they scored a ton of points, but there was a stretch there in the first half where defensively we were really locked in and doing some great things and built a 16-point lead. So free throws, shooting it well is something that we do. Obviously we didn't do that well at Minnesota. Cost us the game. We missed some big free throws late that might have got us to overtime or might have gave us a 1-point win in regulation, but it didn't happen. So you just keep plugging and is just trying to be the best team you can be.
And they were the best yesterday, defeating Michigan 86-82 to get their 23rd win of the season. Our recap of the Michigan game has been brought to you by our friends at Toyota.
Our league's, and I'm not taking anything away from what we did last year's league, but I think our league's clearly better this year. There might have been 3 or 4 good teams last year. There's 7 really, really strong teams, and then, the lower end's much better than it was last year. But, Penn State's done beating Indiana and Iowa at home. So, it's a tough league. So I think we'll get 7 teams into the tournament. I think Wisconsin's playing their way in. They have a tough schedule. Their last 4 games are really, really difficult. But they're playing at a high. That'll help their RPI and help them get in. But it wouldn't shock me if we had 5 teams in the Sweet 16. I don't know if we'll get to the Final Four again, but hopefully we get 1. It's Maryland.
That'd be Maryland,
it doesn't shock me. The league is really, really good, and it was evident yesterday because we played at a high level and had a tough time beating a Michigan team yesterday.
And if you take a look at the Big Ten standings, it's still up for grabs. Indiana's on top at 12-3, then Iowa 11-3, Maryland 11-4, Ohio State 10-5.
Yeah, Ohio State, what a job Thad's done with that team. When we beat them 100-65, I didn't know if they'd win another one, and they've won 10 league games. It's pretty amazing. Now they have a tough schedule. I think they got Michigan State twice and maybe Wisconsin of their last 3 games, or maybe it's Iowa, but they have a tough schedule. But they've done well. So we got to win out. If we want to be league champions, we got to win out. We blew it. We had a couple losses that we probably shouldn't have had, but we did, and hopefully it'll make us a better team. But I think for us to be league champions, we got to win out.
And Purdue on Saturday, you go up against a team you beat here in College Park. At home, they are 15-1 this year.
Yeah, they're good. They're a good team. They're big. The one team that's bigger than we are that we play against.
But Hammonds and Haas.
Yeah, those kids are monsters and really good players. And Matt, I've known Matt for a long time, a terrific coach. So they got the week off, too, to prepare. We got the week off to prepare. They're great at home. It was one of our biggest wins last year was beating them at their place. Early in the year, we got a nice win there. It wasn't easy. Rashad Pack really played well. But it's going to be a dogfight. But hopefully, we got to prove some things to ourselves. So, we'll be ready, and hopefully we can defend well and take care of the ball and give ourselves a chance.
Coach, as you look back at the scoring yesterday, 17 for Robert Carter, but 6 rebounds. 16 for Jake Lehman, another one of his terrific all-around games. 13 for Diamond Stone. DeMonte Dodd comes off the bench, gives you 6 rebounds, 7 points, and a couple of blocks.
Yeah, so let's start with Jake. Jake consistently has been very good all season. The last 2 games, he's scored the ball well, continues to defend. Like I said, did a great job on Duncan Robinson. He's doing a nice job taking care of the ball, and he's just making good decisions. He's playing within the system, which is great to see. Really proud of Jake. DeMonte Dodd's back-to-back really good games, protecting the rim. He was terrific at Minnesota. He was phenomenal at Minnesota and gave us a chance to win that game. So it's good to see. And I liked how he attacked the basket yesterday. We had some extra pivot dunks. He had a 3-point play with a dunk.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, he was terrific. I think all 3 of his buckets were on offensive rebounds, and one was a dish off. So it was good to see. Diamond Stone makes scoring look so easy. I remember the air ball left-hand hook and the shot he got blocked from behind. You forget how easy he makes it look. His step through, his first move of the game, the step through back to his left hand was a big-time move, just fundamentally just so sound. And then he drives from the top of the key and finishes with his left. He's amazing the things that kid can do. And he was a little bit rusty. He hadn't played for a while, and he was a little bit rusty. But played well. I thought defensively he tried, and that's we had to make his big strides. Rasheed was terrific again. Rasheed, I screwed up, and I apologize to Rasheed. He picked up his second foul with 7:33, and we were up big. Then they cut it, and then we put it back to 11. Then they cut it to 7. Then it was back to 11. So I never put Rasheed back in. I should have, and it could have cost us the game. So I apologize to him. I got to trust him more that he's not going to foul. Because he's proven he can do that. So he's very important to us. And he made all the right plays yesterday, all the right decisions, made all the right passes, and did his usual great, defensive job. That Walton kid's a heck of a player, Derek Walton.
And he was on him the entire game.
He was on him. Yeah, that kid's a really, really good player. So Rasheed was great. And then Jared Nickens, came in and hit some shots. We changed sides with the ball better than we've changed it in a few games. Therefore, we went from side A to side B, and then it gets Jared involved in our offense, and he stepped up and made some shots for us. And he really guarded well in his 12 minutes. And then Jalen Brantley had his best game of the year. I know he scored more against Princeton and this and that, but that was his best game. Gave us a lot of confidence, gave us a lot of energy. Really happy for all those guys.
I know people like to see guys score a lot of points, but that's not necessarily a lot of times the way you win a game. Rasheed said something to me once about he had, a career high at Minnesota?
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he gets 8 points yesterday and played one of his better games of the year without having to score.
Yeah, he was just he took what the game gave him. And so at Minnesota, he saw that the rest of the guys weren't getting it done. And so he's like, Coach,
let me take it and go.
I'm going to do it. So he started running some things for him, and he did it. So he's all about the team. Everything that he does is about the team. Mm-hmm. He knows that really basically it's Melo's team. And so he stays out of Melo's way until he has to do it. He just tries to make things better for Melo. He's been an unbelievable teammate. He's been by far our most consistent player, and he's doing some amazing things for him. And I told him, after he had 28, I said, we're our best when you lock in defensively and you get everybody prepared through the scouting report, and then you facilitate and make guys better. That's when we're our best. And he listened, and he did it yesterday.
Don't you wish you had him for one more year?
Well, I'm just glad I got to coach him for one. It's been a joy, and he's made me a better coach, and he's made our program better.
We've got some emails for Coach Turgeon when we come back. The Mark Turgeon Radio Show from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park continues after this.
Show on the Maryland Sports Radio Network.
The Mark Turgeon Radio Show is brought to you by these network broadcast partners.
Capital One Bank, the official bank of Maryland Athletics, and by Toyota. Let's go places.
Now, once again, live from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park, here's Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holiday.
And we've got some emails for Coach Turgeon tonight. You get your email for Coach. All you have to do is visit umterps.com and click on the Ask Coach Turgeon button. It's brought to you by the University of Maryland Medical Center. This is from Mary Sanders, coach in Baltimore. With only one home loss in the Big Ten since joining the conference last season, what's contributed to your team's success at home?
Well, we've had great home crowds. We really have. We feel comfortable at home. We've had good teams. Our last 2 years, we've had really good teams. And then we've won a couple games we probably shouldn't have won. I mean, maybe Northwestern twice, Penn State this year. There's 3 or 4 home games that we probably could have lost very easily and won those games. So whenever you put a streak together, you usually get, fortunate, get a few bounces late in those games. So, and we're a very confident team at home also. One
thing about the Maryland fans, you lead the Big Ten Conference in attendance, averaging 17,852. That is 4th in the nation. That's why we got the greatest fans in the country.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And, I was a little worried about yesterday. We've lost 2 in a row, and we had a lot of recruits there, and the crowd was terrific. And they loved the Gold Rush, and the students were great. And it was a lot of fun yesterday.
Robert Stringfellow sends an email to Coach Turgeon from Arlington, Virginia. What are you focusing on with your team this week as they enter a hostile environment against a very big and very veteran-laden Purdue team?
Yeah, we're going to make ourselves better. We're really going to work on us a lot this week, incorporating some things, post-defense, guarding the ball, guarding their motion, different things that we'll do in the Purdue game. But it'll be a lot about us, and then we really got to work on taking care of the ball. We can't go to Purdue and give them 6 layups because we turned the ball over. And so we'll continue to work on that. We'll add a few things that I think will help us down the road, if not at Purdue, but down the road. So we have time to do that this week.
As you go down the stretch, this is from Harrison Resnick in Beltsville, Maryland. As you head to the crucial point of the season, who'd be considered, if you have one, a go-to guy on your team in crucial situations?
Yeah, I think it varies. Yesterday we went to Rashid, we went to Robert Carter, we went to Mello, and we went to Jake. So we tried all 4 of them. If Diamond would have played a little bit more down the stretch, I probably would have thrown him the ball too. So it varies game to game, who's playing well, who we go to. But a lot of times it's our system. We're running our system. Jake came off with down screen, shot a 3, missed it. Robert got the tip in, but it was out of a read out of our system. And so, you just recruit well, hopefully, and you get good players and you put them in position to make plays, and that's what it comes down to.
Melanie Flanagan from Columbia, Maryland. You recognize that name, bro? Okay, has a question. My favorite player in this basketball team is Varun Ram. What has he meant to you as a player and as a leader on this team?
Well, Varun's a lot of people's favorite player. I got some nephews back in Kansas that just love Varun. He's been a great role model for them, because little, good student, hardworking, so he's been a great role model for a lot of people. But for me, it's just him being a great kid, working hard every day, staying out of trouble, being a great student, and making our team better and just caring, So he's seen it all. Varun's seen it all. He's going to have 2 senior days. First guy in history to have 2 senior days. And but he's seen it all. He's seen the good and the bad, but he's won a lot of games in his 4 years. Not, him and Jake are going to walk out of here. They probably won't have the most wins in our history, but they're going to be up there close to the most wins by a Maryland basketball player.
And we got one for John Caruso in Washington, D.C. How did the losses to Wisconsin and Minnesota help the team to focus on each game individually and never to overlook opponents?
Yeah, I don't think we overlooked the opponents. We just didn't play well. And it's a long season, and it's a grind. And Wisconsin punched us in the mouth. And Minnesota, we give them credit. They made shots in the first half, and they got confident. But what it's going to do is it's going to focus us in on the little things that we need to do to get better, share the basketball more, take care of the ball more, rebound better, lock in the scouting reports. So, you hate losing, but I think the timing was really good for us.
I know you got to hit the road now. You got a little work to do, little scouting to do, and so forth, and recruiting. So
it never ends.
Let's go. But you're eating better.
It's been a good
That's the
2 days.
most important thing.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have said that after the game.
But that was great. Made a lot of headlines. I know you don't read that stuff, but it was a great comment.
That's what I heard.
And anybody who's played sports knows exactly what you're going through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's
tough.
Coach, thanks so much. I'll see you at Purdue on Saturday.
Okay,
Head coach Mark Turgeon. We'll come back and continue. We've still got Varun Ram to visit with, as well as Dwayne Simpkins.
The Mark Turgeon Radio Show is brought to you by these network broadcast partners.
Capital One Bank, the official bank of Maryland Athletics, and by Toyota. Let's go places.
Now, once again, live from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park, here's Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holiday.
Miller Coors Cold Hard Fact Series History brought to you by Coors Brewing Company. Remember, 21 means 21. Saturday against the Purdue Boilermakers, that'll be in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Terrapins lead the all-time series 2-0, and they beat them earlier at Xfinity Center 72-61. Let's go to the telephone and visit with an old friend. He played for Gary Williams back from 1992 through 1996, and I speak of assistant coach at George Mason now and former Terrapin Dwayne Simpkins. Dwayne, how are you? I assume you're well, Dwayne.
I'm doing well, Johnny. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, my friend. How you been? Good?
I've been great. No complaints. Even if I was complaining, nobody's going to listen to me, so everything's going well.
That's right. Let's talk a little bit about your days at Maryland. You came out of DeMatha as a McDonald's High School All-American. You played for the legendary Hall of Fame coach Morgan Wooten, who we will honor at our charity golf tournament in June at the University of Maryland. You were the first freshman to ever make a DeMatha varsity team as a freshman. And how much did Coach Wooten prepare you for what's to lie ahead when you came to Maryland?
Oh, tremendously. More importantly, from X's and O's and things on the court, just off the court, learning how to conduct myself and how to present myself well in front of people and present myself and my family well in the University of Maryland. And, Coach Wooten is always has a special place in my heart just because of the coach that he was and, more importantly, the person that he was.
When you came to Maryland, it's awfully tough to play for Coach Williams, as it is tough to play for Coach Mark Turgeon. They're very, very demanding coaches, very successful coaches. Was it a big adjustment to play for Coach Williams?
It was. It was. I mean, just from the standpoint that obviously both coaches were very knowledgeable of the game of basketball. Coach Wooten, to this day, I haven't heard him say a curse word, and obviously Gary was much different, a complete 180. So I had to adjust to that. I also had to adjust to the fact that we weren't having much success early on my freshman year. I mean, I came into a situation, and I came in eyes wide open. We were coming off of probation and everything, limited scholarships, no live TV.
Yeah.
But Coach Wooten, it's funny just watching myself on film my freshman year, going to my sophomore year. Yeah, I didn't know that was me. I didn't know I could run that fast. I didn't know I could be that attentive on defense. But that's the genius of Coach Williams, that he taught you how to play hard every single possession.
As you look back to think of some of your teammates, it almost seems like I can close my eyes and see you and Terrence Morris and Evers Burns and Walt and Kevin McClinton and Joe Smith and Johnny Rhodes. You had a great talented cast around you.
We did. Billy Hahn and Jimmy Patsos, Art Perry, those guys did a great job of assembling a very good crop of talent. And most of us were all from the Washington, D.C. area. And it was an exciting time because Maryland had been down for a number of years. And, I grew up watching ACC basketball, watching Len Bias and Keith Gatlin and alley-oops and things of that nature. So, deep down inside, I always wanted to be a Terp. And to finally put that uniform on and to run out of the tunnel in Coldfield House, and those were the most memorable moments that I've had in my life.
As you look at any particular games, the one that stands out, I think, which you're related to, and that was a marquee game, the opener of the 93-94 season, that was the Georgetown year, wasn't it? You beat Georgetown at Cap Center 84-83 in overtime, and you had the winning bucket. And if I recall, you jumped on the table in front of me and messed up the papers I was working with.
That was me. I had an out-of-body experience, but I think that was just a culmination of being overjoyed, knowing that we had been getting our heads handed to us a year before my freshman year. I think we finished either last or next to last in the ACC, and nobody thought that we would be any good anytime soon. And to know that all the hard work and perseverance that we had gone through, it finally came out. It came to fruition in a big win on a national stage, and that was a tremendous experience.
And back-to-back years to the Sweet 16. That season you got there. You came back the next year. You guys went 26-8, did not lose a game at home, and got to the Sweet 16 again. That was a good team.
Yeah. No, it was, and I'm sure Coach Turgeon can speak to this. I mean, there's some games when you don't quite have it. You're not as sharp as you want to be, and your home crowd pushes you over the finish line. And we had a number of games that year that came down to the wire, and I just think our fans was so great. The energy in that place was always great, and helped us get a couple of extra wins we probably shouldn't have gotten.
I remember, Dwayne, when you look at the Maryland record books, you are still number 20 all-time in career free throws made. Career 40% from the field, at the line like 82%. In the game against Kentucky in 1995, I don't think you missed a free throw against the Wildcats, did you? Weren't you like 12 for 12, 13 for 13?
Yeah, I think that might have been the UVA game my sophomore year. We were on the bubble to get into the tournament, and that was our last home game, in the ACC and everything, and we needed that win. It was just one of those situations. Coach Wooten always told me as a point guard, you can't turn the basketball over. You got to play defense. You got to make free throws. And on that team, we had 5 guys that averaged double figures. And
right.
I knew I wasn't going to shoot the ball more than 8, 9 times a game, and if I did get to the free throw line, I had to make them count. So I worked extra hard and focused on my free throws, and I was blessed enough to come through for our team and get that win.
And right now, Dwayne is over at George Mason as an assistant coach in your second year over there. You guys lost a tough one at UMass yesterday by 6, and you got a big one coming up on Wednesday night at Eagle Bank Arena against VCU at 7 o'clock. That's a huge game for you.
No, it is. It's a huge win. It'd be a huge win for us if we can get it. It's a big-time game. VCU has been doing a hell of a job in the conference. They've only lost 2 games. And for us, we're a very young team. Like you said, this is our first year here as a staff, and we're starting 3 freshmen right now. And I'm pretty sure Coach can tell you I've been through it as a freshman. This is all new to you, and we're trying to get our guys to embrace playing as hard as you can every single possession, every game. And hopefully we can put things together. And we got a tremendous crowd at Eagle Bank Arena on George Mason's campus. And hopefully the fans will come out and push us over the finish line.
Dwayne, I always appreciate your time, and I hope I see you soon, my friend. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, John. You have a great one.
Okay, Dwayne Simpkins, former Maryland Terrapin. Great to have Dwayne catching up with us, and we'll be back and we'll visit with Varun Ram in just a minute after.
Welcome back to the Mark Turgeon Radio Show on the Maryland Sports Radio Network.
The Mark Turgeon Radio Show is brought to you by these network broadcast partners.
Capital One Bank, the official bank of Maryland Athletics, and by Toyota. Let's go places.
Now, once again, live from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park, here's Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holiday.
And our live special guest tonight, brought to you by Capital One Bank. That's the official bank of Maryland Athletics. We are so honored and so great he could clear his schedule. He knows what's coming. He can clear his schedule to come out and be with us tonight. He's so much in demand. And I mean that seriously, believe me. Varun Ram, one of our favorite guys, and it's gone by awfully quick, hasn't it? Yeah. You got your folks, your fan club is here tonight with you. Gone by awfully quick, hasn't it?
It's gone by. These last 4 years have gone by too quickly. And I look back and, been able to see so much over the last 4 years, and it's great to see, the direction that Coach Turgeon's brought the program, and it's just great to have been part of that.
He was kidding when he talked about you're the first guy to have 2 senior nights. But when you walked out with your mom and dad and your family last year, were you thinking this is my last time around? Was in the back of your mind, maybe I'm going to come back. I got 1 more year of eligibility.
Yeah, at that time I thought that was my last home game. And I treated it like my last home game, but I guess there was something in the back of my head that was like, there's a chance I could be back next year, and I'm, so happy that I am back. And so this year, the senior night, it's going to be probably a little bit more emotional for me, knowing that it's actually my last choice, and even if I wanted to, I couldn't come back.
What's been the most satisfying thing, the most gratifying that you've experienced playing for Maryland?
The greatest part is just the relationships I've made with my teammates, coaches, just everyone that's in the program. Maryland basketball, is surrounded with great people, and obviously I've formed relationships and friendships that I'll carry with me throughout the rest of my life, and that's probably been the biggest impact.
There's only 3 games, Varun, this year that I can see here. Actually, 4 games out of the entire schedule that you have not played. A lot different than last year, mainly because Mark Turgeon has so much confidence in you and what you can do. And we love it when you get in the game because it bothers the other team a lot. And that's your goal, to mix things up, to mess things up and be a pest defensively.
Right. I understand my role in the team. I'm not expecting to come out and play all these minutes, but I do hope to make an impact, on any game that I play in. And I get the most satisfaction out of seeing, the guys' faces on the opposing teams when I check in. And first, I might be like, "Who is this kid?" And it's like a look of, they're a little confused. And then I pressure them full court, and then I see and I see those emotions, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of that.
Well, Walt, Chris, and I, when we're doing games, when you come in, we always mention whoever their top scorer is. His night is over. He's not going to have any good run from this point on because Varun is on him. But that's something you take pride in, defense.
Yeah, no, I think defense is all heart and effort, and that's something I've prided myself on my whole life. And I know that that's what I can do to contribute to our team. And so that's what I really focus on, and I enjoy doing.
When you talk about emotions of the roller coaster ride that a lot of teams have, and you had dropped 2 games in a row, nobody was happy. Everybody could feel it inside. The fans, the coaches, the players, and so forth. And people like you, I think, Varun, can get other guys out of that funk. They can be an example of, hey, it's okay. We're going to get through this thing. We're a team. We're together. Let's go forward. We still got a lot of basketball to play, and we got 23 wins.
Yeah, no, I think that's something you forget once you lose 2 in a row is all the success we've had early.
Yeah.
And I think another thing you forget is, how it could sometimes be a blessing in disguise, how it refocuses you. And, I don't think a lot of guys on our team are used to losing, Melo, Diamond, and all the new guys. They've all come from winning programs, and so anytime you lose, it's a little bit of a shock to them. But my first year and second year here, we lost quite a few times. So I was a little, probably more experienced on losing, I guess, in that regard. But, the most important thing is what you take away from it and how you respond. And that's, what I've tried to, explain to the guys is that, you just have to be playing your best basketball at the end of the year, and we can take, stuff from these losses and move forward with it. So
playing high school ball as you did at River Hill High School, that's another feather in your cap to have all the guys you played with, the students up there, all the people of Howard County flock down to watch you play at Maryland.
Right, that's been one of the greatest things for me is so many people from Howard County come to University of Maryland. It's such a great university. It just makes sense to come to Maryland, and I think they've respected seeing someone from where they're from represent them on the court.
Tell me about going back to India, your homeland, to help the young kids who don't know much about basketball.
Right, so I'm involved with a nonprofit organization called Crossover Scholars and Basketball Academy, and what we do is every year we go in the summer and for about 400 kids. It's not only about basketball; it's about giving them hope. A lot of those kids come from poor families, and they're not given much outside of. A lot of them even they have to drop out of school to support their families or help support their families. But we just try to be a beacon of hope and show them that there's so much you can learn, through basketball and sport, and just really give them something to look forward to and try to be a role model for them.
At what point did you pick out your major, double major at the University of Maryland? And I always like to point out when you're in a ball game that here's a guy out there I don't believe has ever been off the dean's list, high school or college. Now, even in grad school, you take the studies very, very seriously.
Yeah, I do take it very seriously. And anytime, I don't do well in an exam or an assignment, it definitely weighs on me. And I don't, sometimes I might let it leak into practice a little bit. It might be a little bit more chippy. But I definitely take it very seriously. And, it's something that was instilled in me at a young age. Education is number one. That's going to be with you for the rest of your life. That's why I'm here. My dad said, I sent you to school to study and you're playing basketball. What are you doing? But, I think he understands, it's part of me.
It has been a pleasure watching you play. I don't think we're going to have to worry about you after you get out of grad school. You'll be very successful. Thank you, Varun. Varun Ram, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have some final words when we come back in a minute on the Mark Turgeon Radio Show.